Tariff talk.
Tariff talk.
Tariff talk. Tariff talk. Yeah. All right.
Tariff talk.
So tariff talk.
And a lot of tariff talks today.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Okay.
Let's just get it over with.
What?
We wanted to wait until we had a specific invoice from DHL or any other importer that we could show, here's what the new costs are.
And we did.
We did.
We actually gotten other very large tariff bills. We got one for $20,000. We got one for $11,000. Again, for things that I was not expecting to have COO China. But this is still the biggest one, $36K.
36,000 will wait, but wait, there's more. So.
And people are like, yeah, but what was it before? Like, if it was going to be, it's always been 36, then what's the big deal? Why are you complaining? Well, we have a graph.
Oh,
just the graph.
Yeah. So the graph, and maybe you can explain it. I'm going to go over to, going to take care of something in a second.
Yeah, go.
So while you do the graph, and I take care of this thing with the discount code. Speaking of discount codes, my head is just filled with codes. That this invoice was like one of the first ones anyone saw because everyone was just saying and speculating we actually did it. So this invoice was on USA Today. It was on the front page of Reddit. All these places. There's people that I've known for years, and they never really said anything about Adafruit, but this was like, hey, you are on the front page of Reddit.
Yeah.
So that was the achievement, but I'm going to go to the chart and go take care of this thing. I'll be right back.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so this is the chart, which we can duck down. So this, we don't have, we're going to get logs for previous data, but this is from the last year. And so you can see, it's not like we've never had to pay tariffs, but usually per week, it's like $5K. And then, maybe during the holiday season, it bumped up a little bit, a couple of weeks. We had some low weeks, some high weeks, because people would be off for the week and they wouldn't necessarily do purchasing or receiving. But it was always around like 5 to 10K, depending on what we bought. And then, basically starting in February, it started rocketing up. And, it's a challenge because the question is whether to not ship this stuff. Now we have this possible 90-day change in tariff rate. It's funny, people, I was talking to this journalist and they're like, aren't you relieved? And I'm like, I haven't actually gotten any guidance from Customs and Border Protection. Like, I actually don't know what the tariff rate's going to be.
Hey, look, we even have a text view of it. Oh, that's too tiny to see. Okay, fine, I'll zoom in.
Zoom in.
Okay. And that's the chart. See, that's what the chart is. Like, that is that. So look, that is that.
So I went from
is that
five, the shipment, like for the example, like some people are like, what was that shipment before? Okay, I don't know offhand because I didn't go back and do the back calculation, but probably would have been like 5 to 6K max. And it's not just China origin items, because we do buy stuff from other countries. There's a lot of if you think about it, there's a lot of popular products people buy that don't come from China, that come from other countries. And they're expensive, and they're now being tariffed at 10%, if not more. And so, it's not just like China, like you must be buying everything from China. A lot of electronic components and goods and connectors, and wires, whatever, and cables come from China, true. But there's also a lot of electronic products that come from Taiwan, that come from Europe, that come from England, that come from other parts of East Asia, come from Japan. And all those items are now also tariffed at 10 or higher %. And so it's across like a broad swath. And people are like, well, why did you buy from this factory? This company that I bought from is not a factory. They're a vendor, and they're not from China. So some of their products, their products are made all over the world. Some things got tariffed at 10%, some at 25%, some at 157%. I think one was 172. That was the max. One item got like tariffed. So, I think, and then, I had a couple people email and say like, well, why don't you name and shame? Like, who is this company? And I purposefully did not put identifying data so that people could figure out who this vendor is, because it is not useful to pile on to this company whose fault it's not, because we booked this stuff many, many, many months ago. They shipped, I didn't know necessarily that some of the stuff was pseudo China. I probably should have asked, but it was, the shipment was booked ahead of time. It's not their fault. They're working on finding other vendors that, or other factories that they can use. But this stuff was manufactured like 6-8 months ago, right? Like they had stock that we purchased. So, I don't want to, turn this into a pile-on of like who's making what where and like why are they making stuff in China when, China has been where a lot of manufacturers are doing electronic manufacture. A lot of tools and components come from there. Will things change? I don't know. Hopefully. Is there anything I can do about it? Not much. We're looking at sourcing components and tools from other countries, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of competition from other countries. Maybe there will be. That would be great. Like I said, we buy a lot of stuff from other countries, and those are now being tariffed at 10%, and that's a lot. If you think about like how much
plus
stuff we buy.
other costs and inflation, and just things costing more over the last few years. So
Yeah.
uh,
But I think that's it. I mean, this is not an. It's interesting. Some people are like, why are you making political posts? This is not political. This is factual.
No.
I'm not putting even a value judgment on it because
No.
somebody was like, is this good or bad for
So-
Adafruit? And I'm like, well, it's expensive right now, but
yeah.
I don't know whether it's good or bad yet. It's way too early.
So we're reporting the facts. This is what the tariff amount is from DHL. It's
For
a
one
fact.
shipment, yeah.
It's a fact.
I got the bill. I paid it.
And we're purposely making sure that we don't have anything for a political football. But I understand if that's your lens, if you're very left-leaning, very right-leaning, you'll see this in different ways. It doesn't matter, because the only thing that matters is we want to continue to ship the best open source educational electronics to the most people, and we'll figure out a way to get over, under, through whatever the next crisis is. We'll get smarter, we'll get better. We'll meet more people. We're meeting with lots of people in Brooklyn, in New York State, in the government, in other places. Everyone wants help. And I think we have, right after Baskin and G, the idea is you'll be able to get an Adabox at the price that we can sell it based on all the things going on at that second. The time that's actually possible to ship it. So it's in hand. We have it in hand. And you can choose to pass, whatever. And there's nobody who could just squat on these. So it's just basically like a small little, hey, here's $5 and you get $5 back when you buy the Adabox, or it's a discount code. But it's essentially a little buyer's club. And that's just one of the benefits. And it's just a really lightweight way to just say, okay, people can't squat on the Adabox list. They have to do something, but then they can choose if they want that Adabox. And we're just going to call it flow. Lots of things that go into this. I have to see what happens with credit card processing. That means we get international. There's batteries. There's all sorts of stuff. And that is why I shouldn't type things into prompts.